Hello, I'm Sherrill and welcome to my sewing room. I'm going to demonstrate how to put on a simple border on a quilt. Now you can use this technique on any quilt that you're making. So if you're a beginner, this is the video for you. Now this quilt that I'm working on to demonstrate this process is the Beginner's Sampler Quilt. It is a series of 12 blocks. I take you from the very beginning of putting this quilt together to the very end. So if you're interested in making this quilt, at the very end of this video in the upper right hand corner, click on that link and it will begin taking you through the other videos that are involved in making this quilt. Okay, let's get started on this. All right, what you want to do is lay your quilt out, and it's going to be best if you've got a big table. You might have to put it on your dining room table, a picnic table, whatever you've got. Lay it all out. Then you're going to work on the side where the 4 rows are. Okay, we're going to work on this side. Now, measure the width of this, and you're going to measure it from the edge of the sashing over here all the way over to the edge of the sashing here. Okay, then go to the opposite end and measure that side. See if both sides are the same or near being the same. They might be just a little off. If it's just a little off, I wouldn't worry about it so much. If it's off a lot, like an inch or more, then you need to stop and go back and figure out what happened and where you might have gone wrong. Because if you ignore issues, it's just going to get a bigger and bigger issue till you've got just an absolute disaster. So always address all the little problems as you go along in making your quilt. All right, once you've got those 2 measurements done, take the longest measurement and add 1 inch to it. So now you're going to cut 2 strips out that are that length plus 1 inch, and you're going to make them 4.5 inches wide. I'm using just a very narrow border on this because I always recommend to beginners small. Stay small. It'll be a lot easier for you. As you get more advanced, you can expand out. Okay, so take the center of that border fabric and place it in this middle row of sashing. So line it up here. Now I'm going to pull this towards me just a little bit more because my arms aren't quite long enough. Okay, so place it here and then gently smooth it out. Don't ever stretch your fabric. Just roll your hands across. Then once you've got it all lined up on the edge of the sashing, then go ahead and begin placing pins. Start in the middle and continue smoothing as you go along. Now, at each end of the row, you're going to have a little bit of overhang, okay? You want that. That's important because you're cutting this extra long. We'll be trimming it up later, but for now, make sure you have equal amounts of border fabric on each end. Okay, so after you've got it pinned on, then you want to go ahead and stitch a 1/4 inch seam from the raw edge in. Stitch all the way across. Then after you've done that, press this whole piece with your iron on this back side, getting that seam nice and flat. Now remember, don't stretch your fabric as you're pressing. Then after you've pressed on the back side, unfold all of this, and then you're going to press on the front side. Okay, I'm going to walk around over here for a second and smooth this out before I go on to the next step. I want to pull this down just a little bit. So you can see you're going to need kind of a large area to do this. So once you've got it stitched on, then take a long ruler and you're going to line up this edge on the edge of your sashing here. So lay it out. Once you've got it lined up, and make sure that it's straight along this edge here too, okay, because you're trying to make it squared, okay? Then with your rotary cutter, go ahead and cut any excess off that you might have. You want to do this on all 4 corners. Okay, now let me turn this again. Now you want to do this on opposite sides of each other. So once you've got that side done, go to the opposite side and put your border fabric on that side. So that's what I've done here. I've got border fabric here and on the other end. All right, now you want to measure again the width here. So you're going to measure it from the edge of your border fabric on this side all the way over to the edge over here, okay? Measure both ends. Hopefully they're pretty close to being the same measurement. Again, if it's way off, stop, go back and figure out what happened, okay? Always address your issues. Then cut two pieces, two strips that are that length plus 1 inch. You're always cutting everything a little oversized in the length. Cut it 4.5 inches wide by that length plus 1 inch. Then take the center of a strip and place it in the center of this block and begin smoothing the strip out, getting it all lined up along the edges there. Then begin pinning in the middle and continue smoothing and pinning all the way across. Okay, now let me go to the other end. All right. Normally I have my husband helping me move all of this around, but he's running the camera right now, so he can't help me, okay? All right, husbands are good for things every now and then, okay? We can find things for them to do that keep them out of our hair, all right? Okay, so now I've got this all pinned on. Then you're going to press it on the back side, okay, after you stitched. I don't remember if I told you to stitch, but remember, stitch 1/4 inch. Then press on the back side. Then unfold it and press on the top. Now, again, you're going to trim your corners. Place it down on this edge here. Line it all up. Look to see if it's straight across this way. And then any excess fabric that you have, go ahead and trim it off. Do this at all of your corners. Now remember, you've put this strip on both ends. So now you have your border fabric on. That's a major accomplishment if you've gotten this far. You've done a lot of work. Isn't this quilt turning out pretty? Okay, now the next video, I'm going to demonstrate how to get your fabric together for the back of the quilt, and I'm going to give you several different options that you can use, okay? Now to keep informed on all my future videos, click on one of my subscribe buttons. There's one down there in the lower right hand corner. It's red, it says subscribe. It's there throughout the entire video. You can click on that at any time. Then in the upper left hand corner is a round picture of my face. That shows up towards the end of the video. You can click on that one too. It's a subscribe button. Once you click on subscribe, YouTube will prompt you for your email address. Enter that information, and the next time I have a new video, YouTube sends you a brief email with a big button in the center. You click on it and it takes you directly to my latest video. I'm Sherrill. I'm really glad you came to my sewing room, and I'll see you next time, and happy sewing.